Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show. This is the 15th edition of the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show. I've got some cool guests on here this morning. Today we're going to be doing swimming, a little Sparta swimming, and then after that we're going to have girls basketball on, and after that we're going to have a little boys basketball action going on. But either way, we've been waiting for this season to come up. Of course, I learn about new teams that White County has all the time. We've got bowling, we've got football, we've got swimming, we've got a games club, we've got so many things, and I've been waiting for swimming season to come along, and I was thinking this week, I said to myself, hey, I know they're in the middle of the season, I need to contact them, and last night we had a cool meet over in Manchester at it was at the Manchester Recreation Center.
That's right.
Did a little swimming action there. I tell you what, it was much hotter than I thought it was going to be. I walked in there like I was in a sauna. I wanted to jump in, but I was like, you got a suit on, Mix. You can't do that. So you don't want to get your man's wallet wet, right? So, but either way, it was a fun time. So either way, let me introduce some guests here. We've got, so first off, now I do have a little bit of background history here. I do have some multi-sport athletes here. Two of my own, actually, technically speaking, all three of them play for me in one way or another. So we got Chloe Fletcher here, is a girls soccer player. So wave hi to the fans, everybody. All right, got Maddie Sheffield. We got a girls soccer player over here, and then we've got Alexis Jones, is a tennis player as well. So, which if you didn't know, Coach Maury is taking over the tennis team in spring. So that should be fun. Hopefully get a little action there, get a little ball across the net there. It'll be good stuff. So, and then we got the Coach Howard in the house today. Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome everybody. All right, so let's get some grades here first. Sophomore, sophomore, freshman. Okay, nothing outside of school.
No more school for me.
No more school for you. No más escuela para ti. Sounds like a plan. Now, how long have you? Well, first and foremost, let's get a few of the history out of the way here, or some things here. First and foremost, how long has White County had a swim team?
The White County's had a swim team for a long time. It was pretty consistent. Past decade with Coach Ken Craig.
Okay.
And he had a nice program built up where they utilized the Sparta Y in the summertime, and then the Cookville Y in the winter time. Pandemic year hit, kind of slowed some things down. They shifted around the season, and then Craig stepped back, and I came in last year. And so we're working on growing the team back and building a presence back in the Upper Cumberland. Gotcha.
Yeah, of course, Coach Ken Craig, father of girls and boys soccer at White County. I don't know if he's the father of swimming, but you say he did it for a bunch of years.
That's right.
Gotcha. Yeah, Coach Ken Craig, of course, now he still teaches at White County. He's also a referee, but he's one of the first coaches I got to meet. He didn't know who I was. I was walking the hallway. He's like, so who are you? And I got to talking to him and stuff, and then all of a sudden he started sharing all kinds of history, which was awesome. So about soccer and different things like that. So he did that for a bunch of years. Now, how long have you coached at White County?
Sure. So I started last season. So this is my second season with White County. I grew up swimming, swam year-round, swam club, swam high school. And then in Lexington, Kentucky is where I'm originally from. So I spent 7 years coaching club swimming and 4 years in the high school coaching space. So
Gotcha.
Little time spent around the pool.
I gotcha. So what about these girls? How long now Fletch, how long you been swimming?
This is my second year swimming.
Okay, second year swimming, okay.
When I was 7 and 8, I swam for the Cookville YMCA. I was a piranha, and I quit swimming because of my family living in Sparta, and I started swimming again my freshman year last year.
Gotcha.
I started swimming my 8th grade summer and just a little bit on and off since then.
Gotcha. Okay, cool beans. Well, I've never been to a high school that had a swimming team. My swimming experience was just going to the Rutherford pool and just jumping in, hoping I didn't drown, right? But, so now, how many events do each of you compete in? We'll start over here, Maddie.
I compete in the freestyle relays, the 200 relay. I also compete in the 200-meter freestyle by myself. I used to compete in the 50-meter freestyle, and I compete in the 100-meter freestyle.
Okay, Alexis?
I do the 100 breaststroke and the 50 freestyle.
Gotcha. Fletcher?
I do 50 freestyle and 100 breaststroke. Same
Okay.
with Alexis.
Gotcha.
And then the relays, all of us do it.
Okay, good. Now I notice you don't have any. Now this is the girls' team. Don't have any boys this year. Maybe build for that for next year.
Absolutely. So we had a senior male last year, so he obviously graduated, but he had been a part of the team for quite a while, and we had another senior last year, a female that swam too. So, and then these two swam last year. So we're starting to build. We've got a couple sophomores, a couple freshmen, and building to the future. The way that we're really going to try and look to build is through a summer program over at the Sparta Y. That team has grown tremendously over the past 2 summers, so I'm really trying to help support that and get some kids interested in the sport, and then obviously helping cross train with other sports has been a big deal because there's not many options during the winter schedule.
No.
So I think this is a good conditioning option for any sports team, quite frankly.
Absolutely. Well, I know that of course unless you're playing girls basketball or something like that, or girls basketball or cheerleading. So no, I was saying last night at the meet, like I'd love it if all my girls were swimming.
Yeah,
that'd be great for them. That going down and back down. But when they get out of that pool, they're exhausted. They're just like they're breathing hard, they're getting little thighs and stuff. But I mean, I would it'd be awesome to have all the girls out there swimming for sure, and of course some of the guys as well, obviously. But I may have to look at that next year. I may have to push that a little more. I know they mentioned it to me. They had talked about it during soccer that I also swim. I was like, oh wow, I can't believe we've got a swim thing. Now, where do we compete? I know we don't compete at the high school. We don't have a pool. We don't compete at the Y because it's not regulation size. Where do we compete our home games?
Yeah, absolutely. So meet scheduling is always a challenge. So the biggest thing in any kind of swim team sport is trying to find more pool time, both for practice and for meets. This year has been nice because a couple of the counties we've kind of pooled together in terms of making our own little division essentially. So us, Cookeville, Upperman, and then all the Wilson County schools have all kind of potted together to create our own little division. And so we swim several times meet-wise at Cookeville. Cookeville High School has always been very gracious to host us and involve us. And then this year we got to go to Lebanon, and we swam a couple of the Wilson County teams. It was a great facility, great meet format. We usually schedule one, like you said last night, we swam in Manchester. They have a beautiful facility down there, a little bit out of our division, so it's kind of cool to see some other teams and be involved in a different area. And so really just trying to work on schedule some more reasonable distance meets around this area. And then all of our practice time is at Cookeville YMCA. They've been very easy to work with. Fundraising goes towards raising money towards pool time, so that's the biggest part. Cookeville High School usually does the before school pool time, and we're able to take advantage of the after school pool time from a practice perspective.
Gotcha. Now, so when y'all compete, what is it's not the TWSAA right now. Obviously, swimming is not under the TWSAA, correct?
Correct.
Now, who is the governing body over high school swimming in Tennessee?
Yeah, so it's an acronym called TISCA. So TISCA, and then there's a sub one called Middle Tennessee MTSCA. And so we just report up through them. They do the larger meet scheduling from a state perspective and from a regional perspective. So our postseason, we were discussing this a little bit last night. So there's region, and it's all time qualification. Those governing bodies determine those times in order to make the regional meet, which is typically in Nashville for our region. And then they do the state meet a few weeks after the region meet. Again, another time standard that you got to qualify for, and that is also in Nashville over by Vanderbilt.
Now, that being said, when you say a qualifying time, does that mean there could be more swimmers each? Does that mean there's one set time, and if X amount of swimmers make that time, they advance? So there could be more swimmers one year than 1 year?
Absolutely, and so that's where that governing body kind of steps in. They want to make sure they have a certain amount of swimmers qualifying at the regional level and then at the state level. So they'll reevaluate the time standards to say, hey, did we have too many qualify? Was it too easy? Do we need to was it too hard? Do we need to kind of back that down a little bit on certain events? Because they look at all the events across the board And each of the swimmers, from a meet perspective, they get to do 2 individual races, and they can do up to 2 relay races. So this year we've gotten to have a female relay, so it's been awesome to involve them in more events at each meet.
Okay. Now, it's obviously you compete individually, but do you also compete overall as a team or just as relays in a team?
Yeah, so every meet that we go to, they will end up scoring us, even though it's typically 3 to 5 teams at a meet. They will score us head to head with other schools.
Wow.
So based on what schools are there, and they've got a certain breakdown as to first, second, third, essentially in each event, and they'll give us a printout of those scores and things of that nature.
Gotcha. And how did we do last night? What was the final? Was there a breakdown last night?
Yeah, they'll typically send that to me. They usually get it 24, 48 hours after the meet done. They haven't sent me the meet results, but we had great swims.
Yes.
Of our individual events, we had 5 personal bests out of our 6 individual swims that we had. So I was very pleased. We're kind of in the part of our season right now where a little more active between meets and practices. So I anticipated some pretty good swims last night. And now we're going to hit kind of a winter break where we can kind of get back at it, work real hard, and then put our focus on middle January meets where it's going to be our last attempts at trying to shave time and qualify towards regions.
Well, there were some races last night where some racers, y'all beat your times from earlier, correct? You beat your time by how? Wasn't there an event where you beat your previous time by like 8 seconds or something like that?
She had a best time in the 50 freestyle.
Yeah.
That was her best time.
Okay.
Maddie she dropped, it was 7 seconds in the 100. And then how many in the 200?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was about 6 seconds in the 200. And then Alexis over here dropped time. She dropped 7 seconds in her 100, and she dropped 3 seconds in her 50.
Gotcha. That's awesome. That's all. I mean, I just being there. When you walk in, it's this huge pool. Of course, I was way overdressed. I had my brown coat on, my blue polo that I wear to school all the time, and my blue khakis with my brown, my stupid brown boat shoes. And I walked in, and I didn't realize what it would look like. There's parents with chairs all the way around. There's also, if you go to the very end, and this kind of terrified me. I was like, well, they know what they're doing, but still kind of scared me. There's these like batteries at the end of the pool, and I'm like, whoa, might be in for a shock there.
Yeah.
And it was the test when they hit to let you know when they were there, and it was a scoreboard up top with times on it. And I had never seen anything like that before. I thought, well, that's cool. I know next time when I go to my next meet, I'll be definitely bring me a chair. I was standing a lot and watching, of course, cheering them on, but I started getting a little tired after. I was like, well, okay. Been here for about an hour and a half, getting a little bit tired, but I'd definitely bring my chair next time. So hopefully I'll get to make a meet in January, maybe in Cookville. So I know I was calling them last night, and they said, well, we're in Manchester. I said, well, I'll be there. So I went to that last night, and as soon as I was done with there, got me some McD's, and I went back and watched the girls win basketball. So over Van Buren. So of course the boys won as well. So, but it was great events. It was fun events. It was different events. Y'all were going. one would go, then the next two would go, then the next one would go. So it was just a lot of fun watching y'all do all that. Now, before this year, before we started with the high school, are there some swims or some would you call them disciplines? What would you call the different types of swims? Breaststroke. So the different kind of, what do you call those?
Yeah, there's 4 individual strokes: freestyle and backstroke, breaststroke and butterfly.
Okay.
And then there's an array of events. The meet format and schedule is consistent. It's been the same way since I was in high school, and probably 20, 30 years before that. That's kind of a national high school swimming board that established what the meet format is, but there's different lengths in terms of 50, 100, 200 yards, and even a 500-yard freestyle at an event. And then you mix in relays and an individual medley, and you got a full slate. Okay, gotcha. So, Maddie, were there some different strokes that you learned when you started high school in swimming?
Well, I used to do every stroke except for breaststroke when I was around 8 years old. And so I had already been familiar with most of the strokes, but I started out my freshman year doing backstroke and freestyle. And then I decided that I really wanted to focus on freestyle, so I started just doing freestyle.
Okay. Alexis?
I do freestyle and breaststroke, and that's mostly it.
Gotcha. Fletcher?
I do freestyle and breaststroke. Breaststroke's my favorite one to do because it's just, I feel like it's just easier for me to do.
Gotcha. Now that's the one where you keep going up and going back down, going up and down. I remember seeing that event yesterday. And of course, I don't know if you could hear me yelling. I'm a little bit loud every once in a while. People have told me that you can hear me on a field for sure. I'm not sure if you can hear me in the water, but yeah, they said I can. They said when I coached tennis last, I was texting a buddy. He said, "Remember now, coach, tennis is a quiet sport."
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "Well, okay. I'll try. I'll definitely try to be a little more quiet." So, Mom gave me red hair and the name Nixon. What are you gonna do? You're gonna be loud, right? So, either way, so great big events. Now, so what is next? When is y'all's next meet?
Yeah, so we swim the second Friday in January at Cookeville High School.
Okay.
Or at Cookeville Y.
Okay.
That'll be against Cookeville High School in Green Hills out of Wilson County. And then we're most likely getting a new meet scheduled in Lebanon around Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
Okay.
That'll be one of our, they call it a last chance meet. What they mean by that, it's a last opportunity to get a good fast swim in to try and qualify for the region meet. So we'll definitely get that on the books and look to just keep momentum going through the winter. The schedule kind of lays out fairly nicely the way Christmas and New Year's falls, to where it's not completely interrupting our practice schedule. But at the same time, everybody still has family and travel plans in place. So the more momentum we can carry, the better, and try to work around all that.
Gotcha. So now, when you're first starting with the girls and the guys as well, I mean, obviously you didn't. I don't know if you competed with all the different strokes when you were a swimmer. How was the process of learning all the strokes to be able to teach the players?
Yeah, so no, that's a good question. So this year, I offered a free swim clinic, and I'm going to promote it a little bit more next year. And the Sparta Y was really nice about giving us pool time. That's how I was able to recruit Alexis over here. And she can tell you, I think we're going to make some tweaks next year. It was a little too cold. We did it in September, and the water was definitely dipping down a little bit too chilly for us. So we're going to try and start that up probably in August next year. And again, I want to support the local Y summer team as much as I can. I'm trying to help integrate them in with a couple other swim teams and leagues so that they have somewhere to compete. And they've grown their kids to about 20 kids last year, and they swim typically in June and July. So the more that we can get involved in the summer team, the easier it is for me to be able to pull in and tap into what they know already and introduce them in the sport. So typically, now we're going to be doing this early season free stroke clinic where we're teaching super basic fundamentals, nothing difficult, just really breaking down the stroke. And then as we jump early season in October, that's where we kind of carry off of that and start getting in a little bit more yardage. And then the November timeframe is where we're really starting to increase, kind of figuring out how to work hard in addition to maintaining good fundamentals with our strokes.
Gotcha. Now, will you do anything in the spring with the team?
We have not typically done it. I think given the type of pool setup, lack of indoor facility here, waiting until if that Sparta Y has a phenomenal pool and they've been doing their practices in the evening. June, July period would be a great time for anybody interested in swimming to test it out, check it out, and then it kind of rolls right into our season coming off the end of the fall sports like soccer and other things there.
Gotcha. Or like volleyball or cross country,
Absolutely.
like that. Yeah. So now, the reason we don't compete at the Sparta Y is because it's not indoor?
Year round?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the only ability that they have is they're beholden to the temperatures outside. So
Gotcha.
they keep that pool open. They usually open it up Memorial Day weekend, and they usually shut it down around Labor Day.
Gotcha.
So that's our time frame to really kind of hit the water. And growing up, that's how I got introduced into swimming, was through the Y, and it was a summer league type format.
Okay.
And many of the summers that I've coached has been on youth swimming ages anywhere from age 4 to 18, getting them introduced in a summer format. And so my kids swim for a summer team, and so that's how you get kids into the sport. And so that's where we can really start building some interest and some involvement and understanding of what the strokes are. And again, I'm willing to support that as much as I can. We had a couple great individuals coaching that team over at the Y.
Gotcha. Now, from a collegiate standpoint in Tennessee, what does the college swim scene look like in Tennessee?
Yeah. SEC, just like in all sports, dominates.
Gotcha.
SEC is the pinnacle. Tennessee has a beautiful facility, a great team. Was pretty good friends. I coached with one of their lead recruiters and assistant coach for several years. He has actually started his own business, so he left that industry about 2 years ago. So I kept up with them in terms of what they're doing, and then from there, swimming again is another one of those sports where you got to have the right facility and funding and scholarships. They do a lot of divvying up. You take a full scholarship and chop it into fourths and try and get more kids involved in the team to recruit. So trying to find a team that you could be a part of. There's options out there. It's just it's a tough one to get into. Most that get into collegiate swimming are very involved in a club sport team.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So now, who is y'all's big competition? Who's the team that y'all are like, hey, we really want to beat this team? I mean, obviously Cookville's probably a rival now, I understand. But who is like y'all's big main competition that y'all try to do with every year?
Mine probably would be, like you said, Cookville, just because I know a lot of people from there.
Right.
And they're also pretty fast.
Gotcha.
Yeah, definitely Cookville.
Y'all go, well, yeah, for sure.
I like competing with everyone.
Okay, gotcha. I understand. Who would have thought, right?
I just like to see if I'm faster than them, and I try to beat them every single time I'm in the water next to them.
I see that. I've heard that, like, you get in the water and all of a sudden you take a glance to the right or left and you see somebody catching up and you're like, oh, no, ma'am. And you just keep going, right? So I got you. So that's good. So, yeah, that's how you were in soccer, too. So you just want to beat everybody. But, yeah.
Cookville and Upperman are both obviously the main ones. There really isn't anybody directly close to us. DeKalb does not have a team.
Okay.
Warren does not have a team. And Buren does not have a team. There are no teams in Cumberland.
Really?
So it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And so this year has been really nice that we got paired with the Wilson County schools, because I think that shows us where we can be too.
Mm-hmm.
All those Wilson County schools, they have the same problem as us. It's pool time. And so you got 5, maybe 6 high schools over in that area, all fighting for pool time at one singular pool.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the big challenge with all the sport.
Gotcha. So what we're saying is we need the YMCA to build an indoor facility for you guys and then take care. Then White County swimming can just take off, right?
Easy peasy, right?
Easy peasy, right? Yeah. Well, I know for a fact, and I've said this for years about when I've coached soccer, but I've seen it in other schools with baseball, with football, different things like that. There's this concept you're always having to fight with called out of sight, out of mind. If students aren't seeing it, they don't necessarily go for it. Now, I know Warrior Media has done a great job of helping to promote the teams. Warrior Media does an amazing job every week anyhow. Miss Candace Allen, and I think I brag on her every single week on this show. I was, of course, at the ballgame last night, and they're promoting, they had kids working with the headsets and everything like that. They do a great job of promoting those sports that kids don't see at the school as much, and they do an amazing job. But there's only so far that can take you, right? It's when you have your own court or your own pool or your own field. Excited about tennis this spring because we got the courts right there at the school. It'd be kind of cool. That's one of the first things I noticed when I came here. We had a soccer practice at the field. It was one of those late night practices, right? Because I was having to drive from West Tennessee. And I remember driving this far, and I was fixing to drive all the way back to West Tennessee, 4 hours, right? And I looked over there, and there's these big lights. I thought, I wonder if that's softball or whoever that is. So I drove up there, and there's these huge basketball courts outside the school, and there's these huge tennis courts. And there was people playing tennis, people playing basketball. I said, well, that's how you get people interested in the sport when it's just right there, and they keep the lights on. Right, like till like 10 o'clock at night, and there were people out there in their 20s and their teens. I was like, well, that's how you promote it right there. So I didn't know where the YMCA was here until I was driving, I think, to Bonnycroft one day at the elementary school. I do, of course, tech and ESL at the school, and I drove out there. Oh, that's what YMCA is. So more exposure is obviously a good thing. And of course, I'm sure it'd be more exposure for them if y'all are promoting anything like that. So, so you never know. Maybe things can happen that way. But now, have you talking to Coach Craig? What's the biggest team we've had here at White County? Do you know the history of that?
Yeah, I know he probably had consistently around a dozen,
Okay.
half and half in terms of female and male.
Gotcha.
But anywhere probably from 12 to 15. I was kind of looking back at some school records. The oldest one I see is from 2015.
Okay.
So that gives you a little bit of handle as to when some history there. But kudos to these girls and their parents for getting them to practice. Cookeville Y is not the most convenient thing being in White County. However, it's not the worst area to have to travel to.
No, it's not.
It's right off of 111, so it's somewhat convenient, even though we're still having to travel outside the county, and it's not ideal, but it gives us a place to go for sure.
For sure. Well, I know bowling has to do that. Bowling has to travel to Cookeville. Golf. I don't think golf has to travel much. I think they golf out here some. But it's still a challenge. It produces a challenge for kids to have to travel over there and stuff like that. But
Sure.
But still be competitive and still have good meets and stuff like that. It's pretty big. So now, how many meets have we had this season so far?
Yeah, we've had 3 meets, and we're going to have 2 more. Potentially trying to squeeze in a little bit more before the end of the season.
Okay.
And trying to get us a regional qualifier.
Gotcha. Sounds great. Sounds like a plan. Now, so y'all will take a couple of weeks off and then starting next week, I guess.
We're keeping our practice schedule through the
Okay.
break for those that can attend. I'm available, so
Gotcha.
I'm fortunate that we're staying home for the holidays.
Gotcha. Yes. Yeah. Of course, I'll be headed back to 4 hours west myself, so I get that. But there are people who actually do stay in town like that, which is good. So either way, well, awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Before we go any further, I would like to thank our sponsors. We have Cheek Insurance Agency. We have, let's see here. Actually, we've got, I don't have that camera moving, so I didn't get that camera. We have Wallace Insurance Agency, Frank's, and Cheek Insurance Agency. They're our sponsors. I'll get that fixed here just a minute with the camera here, guys, while we're getting ready for girls basketball. I appreciate you guys coming on the show. And anytime y'all want to come on the show, one-stop shop, come on, talk about the swim team or do a little fundraising or whatever you want to do. So, again, we got Chloe Fletcher, Maddie Shaffield, Alexis Jones, and Coach Howard. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys here in a little bit. So, either way. All right, so that was our swim team. So, we'll have girls basketball in here in a second. I'm going to get this camera fixed. Y'all can go over there real quick. So, either way, I'm going to take this camera. I don't know why I didn't have those signs in the background. All right. See here. What do you got going on here? All right. There we go. That's better. All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Okay. Wait here for our next guest. Here we got girls basketball coming on the show here in just a second, guys. Coach, thanks so much. Hey, there she is. Hey, no one sounds like this here. All right. Yeah, I wasn't sure if she was here. I was like, well, I thought I saw a door open, but I wasn't sure over here jibber jabbing and talking, right? So they say when I talk, my hair turns red. That's what they say, right? So like, okay, well, we know Mitchell's been talking because his hair is red. But either way, so we got, now let me make sure I get this right. Carly Gentry on the show today. All right, so we got a senior here. Huge game last night. Huge game. Got a big win. Anyway, welcome to the 15th edition of the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show. You mind closing that door? Yeah, close the door real quick. All right. Yeah, so we're continuing our series with our seniors. We got Carly Gentry in the house today, and season's been going well so far. Now, how many years you play basketball for White County?
Well, 4 in high school and then 3 in middle school.
Okay, good.
And then all in elementary school.
All in elementary school. Cool. Now, what elementary school did you go to?
Finley.
Finley. Okay, sounds like a plan. So you played on the, let me make sure this is right, the Kelly Harper's court.
It wasn't Kelly Harper then. but,
Okay.
Yeah, it was at the old school.
Oh, you played at the old Finley. Okay, so where the board office is now.
Yes.
So that's the gym where I think they do archery.
Yes.
Wow, okay, cool beans. Well, a little history there, right? So I didn't realize that school was that young. Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I just moved here, and I'm learning about things in White County, and I guess because they opened the new Finley the year of the pandemic.
Yes.
Yes, correct. So they opened, and you would have been in middle school at that time, right?
Or like a freshman. I'm not sure.
Yeah. You know, you might have been a freshman in high school the year of the pandemic. Is that right?
Yeah, it was freshman year. It
Freshman
was
year.
freshman year.
Gotcha. So y'all's season in basketball just ended, or were y'all at state? There were some teams at state that.
I think basketball was already over.
Okay. Yes, because y'all only been to state in a few years, right?
Right.
Right. Yeah. Actually, the last school I was coaching at, our team was in the Final Four, and they all of a sudden everybody started getting text messages. And we look up like, oh my gosh. I was coaching boys soccer. We were supposed to have a game that week. It got rained out because of the field was too wet. And I'll never forget, I wish we would have played the game because that would have been our only game of the season. But everybody started getting text messages and looking at their phone, and it's like state tournament's been postponed, and then all of a sudden, yeah. So that team never got to finish their season. You wondered because the year before they actually won state, so you'll always wonder about that kind of thing. So, but speaking of state, this week was a huge week. We beat Upperman, who is the defending 3A basketball state champion. So, that's got to make you feel good. Not only beat them, but I mean, went in there and just beat them, right? I mean, so that's a huge accomplishment mid-season like that. And of course, we beat them twice last year too, so but you never know what could happen. But it's definitely good to, you got to think some of these girls have lived to a state championship, and you just beat them, and they have had that experience, but yet they're not beating Sparta at White County, so that's got to be big for you girls.
It is big.
Yeah, for sure. Now, of course, Van Buren last night, y'all pretty much had control of the game. Now, somewhere I was telling the swim team that I had seen them at, so last night I was calling. I knew they'd be on the show the next day. I didn't know when their last meet was, so I said I was going to go watch them in Manchester at 5:15, and then I'd come back and watch y'all's game, which I knew y'all's game was the second game of 2 last night. We switched the girls and the guys. So I knew our boys had won, and then I had heard y'all had won. I was watching y'all, and I got to watch, I think, the third and fourth quarter. But we had an injury last night. A girl, was it last night or a different night?
It was at DeKalb County on Tuesday. Celeste had fell and hurt her mouth, and so she had surgery yesterday.
Okay.
So she was out, and also Ava was out because she was sick. She got sick yesterday, so we was missing 2 of our post players.
Gotcha. So that had to have changed the game a little bit for you guys. I mean,
It
not having in essence, your 4 and your 5s, right? So normally you have what position do you normally play?
I normally play shooting guard.
Shooting guard. Now, is that a 2?
2 or 3.
2 or 3. Gotcha. Now, I know y'all's system also, I've talked with some of the other seniors, different players can play different positions, can switch out and stuff like that, but primarily you say you're a 2 or a 3. Gotcha. Now, how many years have you started for White County?
2.
2. Okay, so last year and this year. So you were on that team that was going into the tournament real high ranked, and then ended up getting beat by Upperman, or I guess. Sorry, I got somebody trying to call there. Unfortunately, I have my watch on, right? Yeah. So I use the tablet and I use the cell phone to do all this stuff. But then I can't really, if I were to go over there and hit no, it would shut the stream down. So it's not good. So the watch saves the day sometimes, right? So but either way, crowd's probably like, yeah, I wish it'd help you to not talk so much. Let Ginger talk a little bit, but either way, so it's been a great week, been a great season so far. Now, I've asked the other seniors as they've been here, I've asked them about what the mentality was like this year. What is y'all's mentality this year from your perspective going in? Because, I mean, the tradition's there. The success has been there. What makes this season different for you?
We just have to keep our mentality where we come in and play hard every night. We have the tendency to play down to our competition. If we know we're better than somebody, we'll come in and play down to their level when we should just roll over them. But we don't. We play down, so we have to tell ourselves to play our level every night, no matter who we're playing against.
Or who you're missing.
Right.
Right, because that's tempting, right? I mean, I'm sure y'all were thinking last night, man, we're missing 2 of our more prolific post players last night. And I know Van Buren had a few posts
They did.
that could play ball last night. And so I'm sure y'all had to change the game plan up. I know Coach was after the game saying, we made it. We survived. We got through that. And so coming up this next week, hopefully we'll have AJ back, right?
Ava, yes.
Ava back, yeah, right. And but of course we'll get Celeste later on in January, hopefully. But so going up this next week, you've got the Franks Invitational Shootout at White County. Correct. Now, what days are those going to be?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, who do we play?
On Monday, I'm not sure we play our first game or our second game. Actually, I don't know who we play either.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
just know that we played 3 and 9 on Monday.
3 and 9. Okay, 3 and 9. Well, I do know. Fun fact: I was talking to Tim. Do you know Tim Lansdale?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so fun fact about him. I mentioned him last week. I talked to him this week on the phone. Fun fact: he's the reason I'm here.
Really?
He was actually, and of course he's a huge in girls basketball, travel basketball with the flight. He does the TN report, does a great job. Fun fact though, me and him played football together growing up. He was my assistant soccer coach. I kid you not. And fun fact about him, his last game coaching soccer was at the state tournament 2 years ago. State tournament, Nixon Moore, Tim Lowndes on the sideline going up against Knoxville, Austin East. He helped me coach. The thing that he was so good was he didn't really grow up playing soccer. He knew talent. He knew how to scout. So he knows what girls play well. And what, he knew that. So when I got him on the soccer field, he's like, well, that kid's hurting us or that kid's helping us. We should put that. He was always good with that kind of stuff. So he's the one that got me to, he's the one who told me about White County. It's just the way that worked out. I was like, now where is that? That's in Sparta, Tennessee. Yeah. So, he was telling me this week that we've got some schools back from where I'm from. Bradford's coming to the house, and then South Gibson County. Now, me and Tim didn't go to South Gibson County. We went to the Gibson County High School, the original Gibson County High School, right? Yeah. But I know South Gibson's coming. I know that Bradford's coming to the house. So those are both teams from Gibson County. So Gibson County has 6 high schools. And those are 2 of those, the high schools that are coming. And then I think, who's the other one that's coming? Y'all are playing?
East Nashville.
East Nashville. Okay, so that'll be a little closer to home and stuff, a little more used to that. I know Bradford is 1A. South Gibson County, I believe SGC is 3A. So that'd be closer to us. And then I'm not sure what size East Nashville is.
I think they're also 3A.
Okay, they're also 3A. So now I will tell you just a little bit of history now. I'm not sure how good Bradford has been this year, but back in the 90s, they won like 5 state championships. Like they were an amazing 1A school. David Russell, who ended up coaching at GC later and won a state championship, he won 5 at Bradford. So that if you ever go to that gym, it's a wee little gym. I'm talking about a wee with one of those old buzzers, not like the new buzzer, like it's like one of those old school buzzers. They've kept that thing in there. And it's a wee little gym, probably about the size of this iPad, and the fans are everywhere. They're yelling, they're tough. Oh, it's a lot of fun. And so they've got tradition. So what'll be cool about that is here are 2 schools with amazing girls basketball tradition. I mean, amazing tradition. You can't walk into Roy Sewell and look around and not just feel it. Right. Years of great girls basketball players, boys basketball players, the band playing, the crowd out there. I mean, that's got to be so much fun playing for that tradition. And growing up, did you go to a lot of games when you were young? Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So what's your core first memory of White County basketball?
I really remember going, when I was in elementary school, going to the high school games and watching Deandra Luna and Logan Quillen play because they were actually assistant coaches for the Findlay team. So I remember going up there and watching them play. That's the first thing I remember.
Gotcha. You remember the crowds? No.
And it was huge, and I could just remember all the stands being packed and being no seats anywhere.
Right. Kids walking around with popcorn, little nachos, maybe a little Dr. Pepper in the house. Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. No, those were. I mean, when I was telling the girls last week when I first walked in, my first day, which was the last day of school last year, I've got my suit on and I'm walking. I've never been to White County, and I walk in. I'm just looking around the gym. I'm like, there is so much history here, so much pride here too. The colors are the maroon and gray. I couldn't wait to try to embrace it. I didn't know how long it would take, and that does. It's funny. That's a process. You don't think about when you go to when you're coaching that like you think it's. Some will just take it like a job, like you're going to this high school. But it takes a minute for you to catch that spirit. I remember when it hit me real hard. I was at a soccer practice and we were running around the field. And I looked up and I saw the scoreboard and it was like Warrior Soccer, and it was just like, wow, okay, I'm here. This is me. I get to coach here. And this is a special place. And I get to see him in football, get to see him in basketball. I had no clue I'd be doing the show. I had no clue none of this stuff was going to happen. And it's just a wonderful place. It truly is a wonderful place. So I guess, but you got to see that from the cradle all the way up, right? So you've watched them in elementary school, junior high. So you got to play in the old junior high gym. What was it first? What was your first practice like playing at the high school?
I remember it being a lot different than middle school. Like a lot faster pace and a lot of some of the same drills, but just in different ways to get adjusted to the high school level.
Right.
Just a lot of the same stuff, just you had to like pick up the pace to match.
Gotcha. Yes, for sure. Yeah. Well, the high school level, it's faster, it's more physical, it's more demanding. You've got to know where you be. Like sometimes in junior high, you can get away with not being in the right spot.
Right.
High school, they're going to exploit that. A good coach they're going to call time out. They're going to exploit that. And so you've got to know where you're going. Now, was Coach Dodson the coach at that time? Okay, so got you now. So you've how long have you been going? Does he have camps in the summer? How long have you known Coach Dodson?
Probably since 8th grade. He takes his high school team to MTSU for team camps, and at that point he was taking his 8th graders up there too.
Gotcha.
So in 8th grade we went up to MTSU and played some camps, but every summer we go up there and have team camps against different teams from around.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Now, so that being said, next year, what are you looking to do next year?
Next year, I'm committed to Bryan College.
Bryan College, congratulations. Now, I think I had seen that earlier that you had committed on Warrior Media, which, by the way, Candace Johnson, that's an old friend of mine, way back in the day. Candace Allen does an amazing job. I mean, is anybody better at that school for media? I mean, she does an amazing job. I think I brag on her every week on the show.
Yeah.
I'd been seeing like multiple signings and the ceremony. Now, how did that process start with you?
Well, I had started going to elite camps for the college level, and I went to Bryan my sophomore year, and I fell in love with the school and the gym and just the team and the girls and everything. And so I kept pursuing that school and kept going back to their elite camps every year. And so this year, we had actually a high school team camp up there, and they got to watch me play. And then I went for the elite camp, and at the elite camp, they asked me to come back for a visit. Well, their head coach he just left, so they were in the middle of looking for a new coach and everything, so the assistant coach had given me an offer. And so when I came back on my visit, and so at that point they'd hired an interim that is the head coach right now.
Okay.
So
now, has that person been named the full-time head coach now?
Not yet.
Not
He's
yet.
just interim for this year, and then at the end of this season, they're going to look at, are they going to hire him as head coach, or are they going to hire somebody else for head coach?
Now, have they talked to you about honoring those commitments?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, what position are they looking at play? Like, what would like you to play? The 2, the 3, the 1?
The 3 or the 4 there.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
a little 4 action.
Yeah.
Might have to get down low and call for the ball there. Little spin move. So
They don't have many posts though. They play a lot of guards. They play
Okay.
a lot of
like 4 out stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They really only have like one person that stays in the middle, so
Right.
they can play 4 guards on the outside.
Well, I think that is where basketball goes in trends, and it goes in different things. I feel like that's where things are trending, though. You're starting to see a lot of four out, 1 in, or sometimes 5 out. I've seen some high school boys teams that said, "Well, we don't have a post players. We're just going to come out here and guard us, right? And then we'll cut down low." So that changed a lot. But whereas used to you had more players playing with their back to the basket, right? So you had more the 3s and 4s, or I'm sorry, 3s and 4s. The 5s and the 4s were back to the basket. They did different things. So cool beans. Now, what's the difference between a 4 that plays out wide and a 4 that plays down low? What have you had any experience doing that much?
Well, for me, playing a 4, I just go. I don't really make no post moves or nothing.
Okay.
I just go down there and play defense on a post player, and then I get some rebounds. But other than that, I stay around the perimeter.
Gotcha.
On offense.
Gotcha. Well, it's funny. That's playing with your back to the goal. In some places, it's becoming a lost art. Like kids don't know how to do it. Like they'll get the ball, they'll try to face up, they'll try to do a move, but actually getting the ball, making a move, that's kind of becoming a lost art, you might say. But still cool. But the crazy part about it is that there are still teams that make a living off that. They'll go all the way to the state championship. Like, well, if you don't have a good post player, we're going to beat you. like that's their MO. If you don't have a good, you can shoot threes all day long. But then, and what also makes that tougher is when you get to the state tournament, they roll the goals in. There's no back.
Right.
So all of a sudden, that great shooting can start to waver.
Right.
And so a lot of teams at the state tournament, if they've still got that good post game, can kind of dominate. But either way, but you adjust. Great teams adjust. Because there are great teams that still win state that shoot threes all the time.
Yeah.
And I noticed that's kind of our MO too, as I've watched games so far this season, that if our threes aren't hitting, our defense is stealing. Our defense is tough. Y'all got a great defense, stealing the ball, creating turnovers when you can, and it's been a lot of fun watching you guys. So, what's been your favorite moment so far this season?
This season, probably the Warren County game and also the Upperman game. Warren County was just, they came in talking a bunch of crap about how they were better than us and they knew they were going to beat us and all that stuff. So we came in and beat them, and it felt good to beat them. And then Upperman, of course, they beat us in the district championship last year. So for them to come back to our place and then us beat them by 20, 30, whatever it was.
Right.
And then they had a 26-game winning streak. And so we stopped that, and the last time they had won was last year. Or the last time they had lost was last year to us.
Wow! So that was the streak stopped, hit the clock, right? Gotcha. Well, that's got to be huge, and that's big. So now we're 2-0 in the district, correct? We've beaten DeKalb and Upperman. And we won't play anybody in the district over the winter break, correct? We are traveling to, where are we going in Florida?
Not Destin.
That's where the boys are going. Where are y'all going? I knew this last
I
week.
keep forgetting.
Y'all are going,
It's not Daytona.
not Daytona. It's not Miami, is it? No.
Is it Destin?
I think the boys are going to Destin, aren't they? I think the boys are going to it's not Daytona. Y'all are going somewhere somewhere in Florida. Yeah, that's right. Some beach.
Yeah.
Now, will y'all get to go visit the beach some? Cool.
Our
thing.
hotel's on the beach.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, there you go. Right there you go. So that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, I know y'all are playing. I think 2 or 3 games down there. It'll be a big event. So I know the boys are going. I know the boys are going to Destin. I didn't know that for a fact.
Yeah.
So which I went down there for a wedding in August. I was actually down there, so it's really pretty down there. But all of Florida's pretty, so it'll be a lot of fun. So what you'll do is you'll have this next week coming up. You'll play in the Franks shootout. And then you'll have Christmas. Now, what day we all leave for Florida?
We leave for Florida on the 26th.
Okay, so the next day.
Yeah, so we'll drive down there on the 26th, and then on the 27th we have an off day. Our first game's on the 28th.
Okay. So y'all will be down there. How many days will y'all be down there?
I think we come back on New Year's Eve.
Wow. So on that Sunday.
Yeah.
Is that right? Sunday? Saturday. So you'll come. So you'll drive down Monday. Be back on Saturday at some point, and then because Sunday is January 1st, and then Monday is obviously January 2nd. We don't have school that day, so we start back on the Tuesday that next week.
Right.
So okay, wow, that's gonna be a fun trip. Now, did y'all know about when did he tell y'all were doing that?
In the summer.
In the summer, okay. Now, did y'all go there last year?
Last year we went to Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay, Phoenix, Arizona. I know that was now. What was that like last year?
It was different because the year before that we went to the beach. We went to Panama. And so going to the other way to Phoenix, the competition was a lot better than it was at the beach.
As they say out there, intense like camping.
Yeah.
Right, gotcha, because it's intense. It's a stupid joke. All right, so, but, yeah, so, okay, so, of course, you're expecting the competition to be tough, okay, in Florida, too.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, so. Okay, now, so, last year and going into this year, those big, long trips, what does that do for a team?
It brings us closer together. We get to go down there and spend the whole week and stuff together and play games, and it brings our whole team closer together while also playing some games.
Gotcha. Does it give you perspective going into the district play when you get back?
We have to stay focused because we go down there and have fun and then come back and have games right away. We have to be able to stay focused and get back into the groove of things, like practicing every day and everything to be able to win our district games.
You know, I know a lot of schools, over Christmas break, they'll play a local tournament or they'll play a few games, but it's very easy to lose focus over that Christmas break. I mean, you're not getting up for school. You're getting up watching TV or something stupid like that, and then you're going to practice, but it's just not the same. So, I mean, do you think it helps y'all to just stay sharp going into the second semester?
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Now, and of course, you know, you're not worried about practice much because you're playing, you're doing things like that, so it'll be a lot of fun. Now, when you get back, y'all have got, who else is in our district besides DeKalb and
DeKalb, Upperman, Crossville, well, both Crossvilles, so Stone and Cumberland, Livingston, Macon, and us.
So we still got all those teams to play.
Yeah.
So we still got a lot. So we still got a lot of work to do, obviously. And of course, last year we were going into the district tournament as the 1 or 2 seed.
I think we were tied for. I think there was a 3-way tie for first.
Okay.
And then they flipped a coin, and we ended up being third.
Okay.
Somehow, and so then say it was something like that.
So now, but Upperman was going in as a 4 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of work to do. Anything can happen in the tournament.
Yeah.
And of course, that's one of the reasons why you play the regular season. You try to. It's kind of all preparing for that time. That way, when you get to there, you're not shell shocked. Well, we've been here. We've done this. We've played it. We've had to be in this same situation before. So, but either way. So, got to regions last year. Who put us out? Paige, that's right. Yes, Paige. So this year going forward, what would, I mean, every girl, every guy likes to talk about, we want to win the state, different things like that. But for you just personally, what was, when last season ended the way it did in this summer, where were you hoping to get to?
I mean, we were hoping to go to state.
Right.
But we knew Paige was going to be, we kind of got the short end of the deal on that because we would have been playing a different team, but they won a really game that they shouldn't have won. So we would have been playing them, but then they won that game, which put us playing Paige, which was a tougher game for us. But, I mean, it's just, we played them in the summer this year and we beat them.
Good. Well, that's good.
We're more prepared this year, we feel like.
Good. Now, that being said, the format's different this year. I think Coach Dodgen was telling you guys, if y'all were to win out, you would host.
If you win the district throughout the season, you host the district tournament instead of everybody playing at Tech.
Right.
Whoever wins the tournament gets to host the tournament.
Gotcha. Well, a lot of schools do that. I know in soccer that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. Some schools, it depends on the area. Some areas it rotates. Some areas it's whoever wins. I personally like that because I know, like when I coached boys soccer, I done girls and boys. And when we actually got first place, they were like, well, where's the meeting at? We said, well, it's going to be at our school. They're like, we're going to, why can't we rotate? I'm like, no. All these years, y'all had it at y'all's place. Well, you're coming to our house tonight. And they're like, okay, fine. So I think that's a great, I personally, I don't like it when it's the rotating thing. You didn't earn it. I mean, what did you earn? Right. You didn't earn anything, right? So I think it should be the number one team should get to host. Of course, having a third-party site like TTU is cool, but I think it was also different for you guys because they roll the
atmosphere. Yeah, it's fun playing at Tech, just to be on that floor, but the atmosphere is so much bigger and the perception of the goals and everything, it was just so much different.
Right. So, and that's not really, conducive or helpful to just to play your whole season a certain way, and then all of a sudden, well, we're going to change that for the district tournament. Do you feel like if y'all had last year, if y'all had played Upperman in a regular gym or a normal setting, it would have been a different game?
I think so, but also I think Upperman came prepared that game. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew that they wanted to beat us, and they just wanted it more than we did.
Okay. But do you also think maybe that if it had been like a setting this year, last year, would Upperman even been in that game?
I don't think so.
It's something to think about, right? Because all of a sudden you get hot and you're moving along. I mean, one little perspective change can change a lot. So, but I mean, that's the way it's written, right? You have to play the way it's written, and it's amazing how things work out like that. And of course, when they went to state, it was also the same kind of atmosphere. The glass. You ever been to the Glass House? Because you've been for camps and stuff, yeah. By the way, I've ran on it twice as a mascot, by the way, so I like to make that stat out there. I used to, we were the Pioneers back in the day, and I had my little hat on. So I've ran at the Glass House. I know what it's like. It's a beautiful place, and the crowds are huge. And I know, just from my experience at White County, if we ever get there, oh my gosh, the crowd's going to be there. They're going to fill that place up maroon and gray. It's going to be awesome. Those bright blue seats they got there. Rick Enzel's house, Coach Enzel. So I know that'll be awesome. I know Gracie will want to come out and watch the girls. So lots to play for, lots of big things. When was the last one we went to state? Do you know?
I don't know.
Gotcha. But a big opportunity this year. Things are going well in the district so far, and I think we lost once or twice.
We lost once
to Cookville, and of course, hopefully when we come back at our house, we'll play at the in a gym, not a roll up gym.
Yeah.
And I mean, the way y'all are playing against them on their home court in that atmosphere, and y'all still beat them. I think when they come here, we're fixing to just beat them, right?
We think so. Yeah.
I mean, and I was telling the other seniors the last 2 weeks, I said, y'all would not go away. That y'all were, they thought, okay, we got a 17-point lead, we got this. And then all of a sudden it's a 15-point lead, then it's a 10-point lead, then it's a 9-point lead, and they're calling timeout. So I think when we play with Roy Sewell, we'll definitely go in there and just take care of business.
Yeah,
so,
we think so.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So now, this next week you got the tournament. So I guess y'all will have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? So gotcha. So looking forward to traveling anywhere? You gonna be at home, or are you gonna be in the area?
Just be here.
Just in the area. A lot of folks. I'm telling folks I'll be headed back to Gibson County next week. So I'll be about 4 hours west of here. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I know some players are traveling, some players aren't traveling. It's funny. I'm having to keep the perspective. I'm not originally from here, so I would travel, but everybody else is from here. Of course, everyone going to travel.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different with that. So, but either way, well, that sounds great. Well, now any other thing you want to just mention going into next week? For any of the fans, what time are y'all playing on Tuesday?
Tuesday. I think it depends on how we win on Monday.
Monday. So y'all will play at 3?
3 and 9.
3 and 9. Okay, cool beans. So we don't know who yet, but we'll find that out.
I think we played maybe Bradford the first round.
Okay, first round.
3. I think we might play Bradford.
Okay, so they're gonna have a big travel. That's a big trip for them. So at 3 o'clock, so they won't go to school that day. And then on Tuesday you'll play somebody else. And then on Wednesday, is that the day that the pool games are over and that's the tournament?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So that'll be exciting. Now, how did we do in this tournament last year?
We made it to the championship and played Warren County, and we lost.
Oh my gosh! So that was
we lost in overtime.
In overtime, okay.
That was the first time White County has lost to Warren County in several years.
Wow! So it was good to beat them this year.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We beat them twice last year in regular season play, but then in the tournament they did beat us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Forest City over there. So
Yeah.
so now they play competing in this year.
I think yes, they are.
Okay, cool, baby. All right, that'll be awesome. All right, well, that'll be a lot of fun. So a lot of good girls basketball. If you're looking to watch some girls basketball or some boys basketball, for that matter, Roy Sewell will be ready to go this next week.
Yeah.
And because school's out. Well, it'll be out Tuesday at 9 o'clock, I think. 9:30. Yeah. I've never heard of that until I came here.
Yeah.
It's always where I'm from, back in West Tennessee. You'd always go to 11:30. That was the thing. If it was a half day, it was 11:30. I get here like, oh no, we're going to 9:30. That's what we're calling today. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll take it. So y'all be doing that till 9:30. So if you're looking for some good basketball, this next week's gonna be a huge week for that. And just and I tell you, that's where your high school basketball fans, they come out on Friday nights. They come out during the Christmas tournaments. They come out just to watch and see and be a lot of fun. They show up for sure. Well, Carly, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for
and come back anytime you want to. We'll be, of course, we'll get all the. We've gotten 3 seniors down so far, so we've got I think 3 more to go, and a manager I think as well possibly. So we'll get them on the show. But towards the end of the season, when we got all the seniors, I'll have all you guys come back on, talk a little bit, and talk about the show. Do you play any other sports at White County?
Play volleyball.
Play volleyball, okay, some cool things. Yeah, I talked to you about the volleyball earlier in the year, and we had a good show there, and I know you had a great season, so cool things. Carly, thank you so much. Thank you on the show, and we'll see you. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
That was Carly Gentry on the show today, girls basketball. A huge week for them. And to round out the show, we got a little boys basketball action here. All right, come on.
How's it going?
Doing well. Come on over here. Now, Thomas, right? Jake Davis?
Yes, sir.
That's right. Okay, gotcha. Thomas was last week. For some reason, I get y'all mixed up. I don't know why. I think back home, I played football with a buddy named Jake Davis. And I was like, but there was also a guy named Thomas. And I don't know why I get y'all mixed up. But
I do it all the time with the 2 Thomases in our team.
That's right.
I say Thomas, and they both look at
Look,
me.
right.
Oh, that one.
Right, yeah, exactly. That doesn't happen to me a whole lot with Nixon. They're like, if you yell the name Nixon, I either think you're talking about a Republican president, Nixon, or me, right? Which I'm not. I try to tell people that I'm like Nixon. Wait for it. But I'm more. Coach Moore, right? Look at that, Coach Moore. Yeah, that's good, isn't it? You don't live 34 years with that name and don't have at least a few stupid jokes. So yeah, a little that was special. Either way, good to have you on the show today, Jay.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course, y'all played a great game last night. Huge win. Huge 2 wins this week, right? We beat DeKalb. Just beat them down, right?
Yeah.
Just a
Huge second half game for us. First half was really sloppy, but we kind of got back into the groove in the second half and kind of turned on the notch.
There you go. Well, and I've noticed that when y'all have different gears, and man, when y'all hit that lower gear, man, y'all take off. Teams don't want to play y'all when y'all hit that gear.
Yeah.
First gear is okay, this is all right. Then all of a sudden, that next gear, y'all just get going, right? So that's a lot of fun. So huge district win, obviously, and then a huge win last night against Van Buren. Now, was there a reason we switched the times? Was it just the girls' game we thought was bigger, or that y'all?
I'm not too sure. I heard that I think Coach Dodgen's daughter was having surgery and he couldn't make it because he had to be at the surgery. But I could be wrong. That's just what I heard.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I just didn't know. I of course never watched. Actually, going into last night, I thought Van Buren's colors were blue.
Did you?
I did. I walked in, I was like, I'm wearing the wrong color shirt, and then I realized, oh no, they're maroon and gold or something like that. So it's like, I'm good, right? So I walked in there, yeah, it's all good. So, but either way, no, but a big win last night, and of course the girls did great last night as well. Now, I was just talking with Gentry. She wasn't sure where they were going for their tournament in Florida. Y'all are going to Destin, correct?
We're going to Panama City.
Okay, maybe they're going to Destin.
Maybe.
Maybe we may have got that mixed up. Okay, so y'all are going to Panama City.
Yes, sir.
All right, now who are y'all going to play down there?
I'm not too sure yet. We've got our tournament schedule. I know Coach Mitchell said there's some good teams, some very talented teams are playing. I couldn't tell you the names off the top of my head, though.
Okay, gotcha. Now, let's see. This next week, are y'all playing in the Franks tournament?
Yes, we are.
Okay, who are we playing there?
First game at Bradford.
Ooh.
Bradford High School.
Now listen. Okay, so that's fun fact. I guess I didn't think about the fact that it's also a boys tournament. I'm gonna give you a little hint. I'm from that area. In fact, I'll be going back on Thursday night. I'll be traveling back to West Tennessee. And where I live in West Tennessee is about 30 minutes from that high school.
Gotcha.
And I can just tell you, Coach Glisson and the boys basketball, they are physical.
Okay.
They love to get hands on. You try to drive through, like they're all touch. I mean, they're a very fit. That'll be a fun. I mean, y'all should beat them with no problem, but they're very physical. They don't like you just to run by them. They're going to get very physical. So that's interesting that y'all are. I know they're playing girls basketball, but and what time's that game?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. You know, we just read our schedules out for who's working the concession stands and the gate, so I had to get that finished first before I even thought about the game. Yeah, I'm not too sure yet. I'll have to look on the schedule.
Okay, yeah, I know. Like I said, I know they're very physical. They're a very physical team. Y'all playing South Gibson County as well?
I'm not sure.
That's another school back where I'm from as well. So
I don't think we play them.
okay, gotcha. Now, who else did you play?
I know East Nashville's coming down to play. They're
Yep.
supposed to be pretty good.
Yep. Did they win state last year, maybe?
They might have. I'm not positive.
I feel like some school like that won state last year, but
You could be right.
yeah. But
I know they're talented.
yeah, they're very talented usually. But you'll play them, and then of course Bradford and somebody.
I think Warren County's coming down too to play that tournament.
Okay, good. Well, I think the girls are also playing SGC, so that'll be that. Now they've had a good team in the past. They've had a good. They like to shoot the 3-ball a lot.
Yeah.
They used to do that a lot. They're a big school. Well, they're a big school relative to that area.
Mm-hmm.
See, what's funny is back there, a big school would have like 800 kids.
Right.
Here, like
It's different.
It's very different. The
Yeah.
schools are way bigger here, which is so cool, right? And that's why you can have like a swim team, right? Like I was just interviewing. Our first interview today was with the swim team, and that's why you can have a swim team. You can have a bowling team. You can have all these because there's so many students at these schools, which is a great thing to have.
Right.
Last school I was at, we had 450 kids, so that'd be like one class almost, right? That's a tiny school, right? We did have soccer back there, but we didn't necessarily have bowling. We had tennis, but we didn't have bowling or swim or anything like that. So it's just but I mean, what a place to go to school, right? White County is such a wonderful place.
No, I love it. And I transferred here my freshman year. I wasn't even supposed to go here. I actually moved here to play for my uncle, which is Coach Mitchell.
Okay.
So I was related to him. I was supposed to go to Summit High School, which is close to the Nashville area.
Okay.
But he really wanted me to come up here and play. And ever since I moved here, I've loved it.
Well, you know,
loved it.
one thing I've been telling people this week, and I really believe this, and I've coached at 4 different high schools. I've coached at South Fulton High School, Haywood High School, Gibson County, and then now here. And it's just something, I told somebody this week, I said, man, it's not this way everywhere. Kids love this high school. I mean, they love this high school.
I agree.
I don't know if it's the history, if it's the tradition, if it's just the fact that just the whole county comes out and supports them. But when you hear kids talking about, no, I love White County, I want to go here, I can't wait to have my experience here, especially their senior year, they're like, no, it's my senior year, I want to go through all the experiences, the Cookeville basketball game, the Cookeville football game, the parade, the homecoming, the graduation, which I haven't even been a part of that yet. Where do we have it inside or outside?
I think we have it outside. That's usually where it is. Graduation is usually outside.
On the football field?
Yes.
Okay, so that's something new for me too. I like to learn all that too. But they have a during school soccer match.
For volleyball.
They did for volleyball too, right? The Warrior Media keeps everybody informed about everything. I mean, it's just the principals, the teachers. I mean,
It just all feels like one big family everywhere you go.
yes,
I love it.
and I'm telling you, it sounds funny. You would assume it's that way everywhere. It's not that way everywhere.
It's not.
It's just not. It's some kids go to their high schools like, well, I could care less either way. I'll never go back. I mean, there's a lot of alumni out there that teach there now.
Right.
Every time I talk with Mr. Wilson, he's always got some history lesson for me about something. He went to this. Well, in the 70s we did this, and in 2000 we did this. I mean, I learned something new I didn't even know. I was talking to him last night at the gym after the girls' game. I had no clue we had an East and West Elementary School in Sparta.
I don't even know if I knew that.
Yeah, we used to. It just there was different elementary. They eventually closed them down, and one of them became.
There's so many.
There's so many, but let's see. Wait a minute. There's Finley. There's Dole. There's Bondycroft. There's
Woodland.
One of them became Woodland.
Gotcha.
One of those became Woodland. They opened up Woodland, and there you go. But I had no clue that history.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That it was there, but it's there, and we were talking about that and how cool that is. So every time I love to. If I see Mr. Wilson, we're going to talk at least for 5 minutes. He's going to tell me about something because I love that. So I love history. I love, especially on this show, I get to kind of talk about it. In the summer, we'll be doing more historical stuff. Like right now, we're covering all the seniors, and I'm proud to have you guys on here. During the summer, we're going to get some more of the old principals, old coaches. Alumni to talk about different things, and so that'll be kind of cool there. Now, what position do you play of the five?
I play combo guard, so that's kind of like a combination of point guard and shooting guard. I usually start as a shooting guard, but if Tripp ever goes out and they need a point guard to play, I'm usually that guy.
So either the one or the two. Gotcha. So I've never heard of that word, combo guard.
Yeah, it's a new terminology that they go with.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, you're seeing basketball go that way, right? You're seeing it where it used to be very position oriented, right? If you were a 5, you were down low. If you were a 3, you were on the wings. But now you're seeing more fluidity with positions.
Everything's changed. It's more like positionless basketball nowadays.
Exactly.
Everybody's getting good at everything. That's what they're trying to do.
Right.
They want to be able to stretch the floor.
Right.
You know, different teams have different play styles, so
Right.
it definitely varies.
And it's funny because some people are learning new skills. Some people are forgetting. You know, what's a lot of schools are forgetting the old traditional, 6'7" post with his back to the goal. That's almost disappearing.
Right.
It's crazy to watch that. But then that one team will have that kid and he'll be really good. But what I found is funny about that is with a lot of schools that have that kid, they're not in the best shape. It's almost like if they're a great athlete, they don't want to put them down low anymore. They want to put them on the perimeter.
Stretch the floor.
They only make them play with their back to the goal if they're just not in great shape or something like that, right? And so they play a traditional role. I guess it's kind of like in football, the fullback, or even in soccer, the sweeper. You just see trends happening. So, and I'm sure that's changed since you started playing basketball. How long have you played basketball?
I actually didn't even start until middle school, so 6th grade.
Okay.
Yes,
Now that was at Summit.
Yes, the middle school is called Spring Station Middle School, but I mean, yeah, that's the same area.
Gotcha. So you didn't play when you were younger.
Yeah, no, I started. Well, actually, Coach Mitchell was the one who wanted me to start playing because I was more of a football and baseball kid.
Okay.
Growing up, and I wasn't very good at baseball. I'll be honest.
Okay.
But I was pretty good at football. And I tried playing it for the first time. We got a basketball hoop at my house, and Coach Mitchell was like, teach me how to shoot left-hand layups and free throws and stuff. So I said, you know what, I kind of like this. I'm gonna try it out. So I ended up trying out for a little rec team, then I ended up trying out for the school team, and it just ended up working out.
Now, I saw something last night in the Book of Faces. I'm pretty sure I saw the Book of Faces. Facebook, obviously.
Yeah.
And my soccer team's like, why are you calling me stupid names like that? But I saw in the Book of Faces, y'all had some kind of shirt made.
Oh, yeah.
Of Coach Mitchell. Now, what was this about? What was the origin here?
Listen, for the last time we played Van Buren, it doesn't have anything to do with Van Buren. It's just like the time of year. It's Christmas time. We usually wear ugly Christmas sweaters for warm-ups. And so this year, Japeth, he texted the group chat and he's like, hey, would any of y'all want little sweaters with Coach Mitchell's face on them if I could get them? And we're all like, of course, dude, get them. So he bought us all the t-shirts, the little long sleeve t-shirts, and some of us wore them, some of us didn't. I took mine off just because it was super long on me. And it was like, I was starting to sweat a bunch in warm-ups, but I loved it. I already told Coach Mitchell, I was like, dude, I'm wearing the shirt on Christmas morning.
Of course.
So don't be embarrassed by it. But no, it was awesome. It was real funny.
Now, was that a picture of him when he was young, or a new picture with an younger? Who was that on there?
Well, that was Coach Mitchell's basketball pictures from at Tennessee Tech when he was playing in college. So and it was the funny thing about it is like he was still half asleep during the picture, and they woke him up at like 7 in the morning to take that picture. So he did not look happy in it.
Gotcha.
So I guess that's what's so funny about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What position did he play? Do you know?
Shooting guard, small forward sometimes.
So he's
taller.
like a 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Yeah.
Now, so that's cool. So the question I have, I talked to David about being on the show. He couldn't be here today. Hopefully we'll have him back next semester. He's the one who actually mentioned, he's like, hey, you ought to get Thomas on here. So, and I hadn't met you. I don't think we've actually got to formally meet yet.
I don't think so.
I think just in passing, like, hey, there he is. So you're probably like, who is that guy? A little weird, a little different there, Coach Moore there. Really loud on the soccer field, right? So, but you may have heard my voice. So, but so of course we did the Maroon and Gray Saturday show, and I'm so glad you got to come on today. That being said, it's the first time I got to formally meet you. So, what Japeth and all those, what is obviously y'all like to play pranks like that. What's the camaraderie been like this season with you guys?
Honestly, there hasn't been much going on so far. We've really been focused on trying to play as a team, like locking in at practices and stuff. So there hasn't really been lots of shenanigans so far. But it's not something where you walk in the locker room and it's like, man, this is like a weird feeling. I don't want to be in here. It's not like tense or anything. We're all close. We're all close knit. We're all fun in the locker room. It's just like we haven't really done anything.
I got you.
Mess around this year.
Well, y'all got a lot of focus. You won district last year, correct?
Yep.
And then who put us out last year in the region?
Paige.
So it was Paige for both the girls and the boys. Okay, gotcha. So hopefully, of course we've had a heartbreaking loss to was it Upperman?
Oh yes.
And then we beat DeKalb. So we're 1-1 in the district, but hoping to try to repeat that and maybe get back to region and state and like that'd be huge. So that third week in March. So
our goal every season is just to make it farther than we did the last season.
Yep.
And this year, I mean, I think we have all the tools we need if we can just lock in as a team. Just focus on, we don't need to be focusing on who scores what. We just need to focus on playing as a team. Because I mean, it's way harder to stop 5 players on the court than it is one that's scoring 30 points a game.
Absolutely.
So if we just focus on that, I really do think we can make a mistake this year.
Gotcha. Now, when was the last time we went to state?
Oh, 2015?
2015.
I
Okay.
believe so. That's when Kay Crosland and Cordell Henderson were still here.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, those were the 2 big, huge players back there. Gotcha. Now, of course, you didn't grow up watching White County games as much.
Well, actually, not all the time, but I did come up here and watch some I'd watch like 2 every year. Because Coach Mitchell would let me stay with him in his house, and I'd come in there, stay the night, and then we'd go to the game, go back home, come back for another game that same year, and then be like, okay, we'll go to another one next year. And actually, since I was little, I've been wanting to go to that school, not to play basketball, but then when I realized, hey, I really have an opportunity to go here to play basketball now, I was like, I love the atmosphere, everything there, I love it, let's do it.
When you walk in, I mean, you feel the history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look around and it's just like, it's a special place. Roy Sewell Gym, it's just a special place.
It's awesome.
And so much tradition. Now, what was Coach Mitchell's first year? His first year was the year it was the night to remember, right? That was the year I think if you go into the board office and in the high school office or somewhere, there's like 3 different pictures, and it's a picture of the girls winning against Cookeville and the boys winning against Cookeville, and it was, I think, the first one that had ever happened at home, and it's got a picture that said like $5 for a ticket, something. Getting to send Cookeville back on our highway. Whatever.
I'm gonna have to go in the office and see it.
Okay, so go in the office. If you'll go when you first walk in, of course you have like the front desk.
Yep.
If you'll turn right,
okay,
like you're going to Mr. Wilson's room.
Yep.
There's like a bunch of little little hallways. I'm drawing on the block right here, and there's a bunch of little connecting hallways.
Yeah.
There is a picture, and it's about this big.
Okay.
And it's got a picture of the girls playing and them laughing about, and it shows the score.
Gotcha.
And on the other side, it's got a picture of the boys playing, and they're laughing, they're cheering, right? They're excited, and it's called A Night to Remember. I remember when I first started at White County, I was there. My first day in Sparta was y'all's last day of school last year. So I walk in. I got up at 4 a.m. Drove all the way to White County. Fun story too, by the way. I ended up going to the sub-state game that night to watch the softball team. Gotcha. But here's the problem: my car was having a bad problem with the transmission, and so it was hard getting up those hills.
Yeah.
So my day started at 4 a.m. Right?
Oh, no.
I meet the soccer team. I meet Coach Hasten at the soccer field. We're talking a little soccer. I drive to the game, get there in the 4th inning. We end up losing in the very end. I then said, I can't get back up those hills.
Yeah.
I drove into into Georgia, turned around, drove to Nashville, got back to Jackson. I got back home at 2 a.m.
Good Lord.
4-2
That's bad.
in one day, and
I would have fell asleep behind the wheel, man.
Well, it was like those little coffees. It was, but I'll tell you something. It was also exciting.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, this is a new school. These people are awesome. I'm gonna love this school. Oh my God, what are you doing? I'm so excited. You're opening this door. So there's a lot of adrenaline. There's also a lot of. I got to my first softball game. You hear people yell White County. You hear people yell Sparta. The Maroon and Gray in their pinstripe jerseys. I mean, I was like, I'm joining something special here.
Right.
I did not know this show would be happening. I didn't know I'd be interviewing you. I didn't know I'd be doing a lot of this. I thought I was just coaching soccer at first. But Lord has ways to open doors, right?
Yes.
So knows
He's got a plan for everybody.
He does, and so it's been an amazing experience. But I didn't know all that was going to happen that day. So when I first walk in, I got a tour of like the whole school, right? That was just being shown around. Hiring a new soccer coach is a big thing, and I remember seeing that plaque, and it sits there in the office. There's one there. There's one at the board office, and there's a third one somewhere.
Gotcha.
But I was told that was Coach Mitchell's first year. So it was Coach Mitchell, and then somebody, I don't know who the girls' coach was at the time, but that was a big night for White County. So maybe we can do it again this year when they come back to our house. I know that when we played them at Cookeville, they bring the goals in, right? And that's harder to shoot.
Yeah, it's deceiving. The court, it feels bigger playing on that court. Obviously, it's a little bit of a bigger gym, but yeah, it's hard playing there. I can't lie. It's definitely hard playing
Gotcha.
there. And now they come back to our place now. So
Right, exactly.
hopefully we can get it together this time.
Gotcha. And of course, this year the district tournament will not be played at TTU either.
It will not. It's whoever wins the regular season district hosts the district tournament.
So that's got to be easier to judge the shooting, judge the
More than
thing.
likely.
Yes, gotcha. So, now, who do we play next in district?
Next in district, let me think. Okay, so we play. I think it'd be Stone Memorial.
Okay.
So we played Frank's Shootout, Christmas tournament, Panama City Beach. Then we come back and play Cookeville and Stone right after.
Oh, okay. So Cookeville and Stone right after. Okay,
Yep, 2
gotcha.
big games.
That'll be huge. Well, we didn't go on the road this side. We didn't have any sponsors. Well, we were talking about getting some more sponsors for the next away game. We'll be taking Maroon and Gray on the road. Which, by the way, I do want to make sure I mention our sponsor. We've got Cheeks Insurance Agency, Franks, and Wallace Insurance Agency. They're our sponsors for this show, the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show, the 15th edition. You're on here, so got to make sure I didn't mention them when we did the split between the girls and boys basketball. But we love them and thank them for taking care of this show. But either way, now, so you're a senior, so what do you want to do next year?
Well, I've kind of already made up my mind. If basketball doesn't work out and I don't end up getting any offers, which I'm still hoping to get.
Right.
If I don't, I think I'm going to go attend Western Kentucky University.
WKU.
Yep. Yes, sir.
The Hilltoppers.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they've got a big FCA thing over there that says Jesus was a hilltopper because he went up a hill. Right, look at that, right?
Yeah.
So, right, you get where I'm going there, right there. So, yeah. Now, WKU's a great school. Is it far away from here?
It's not too far actually. So it's about a 2-hour 45-minute drive, which it seems kind of far, but it's only an hour away from Nashville. It's only an hour.
Not that bad. I mean, like I said, I'll be traveling 4 hours this week, so I can tell you it's not that bad. So I don't know how many hours I drove. I don't know how many miles I drove my first day here.
Yeah.
You're talking about going. You see, in order to get around, you take like a little sliver into Georgia and then come back through. So I went from there to there to there. So I don't know how many miles or how many hours I drove. My poor car hated me that day, but we had just replaced the transmission, and that new transmission I guess wasn't broken in. I don't know what, or maybe it was just the hills. I thought I knew hills back in West Tennessee. No, sir, I knew hills. I didn't know mountains.
Right.
I didn't realize. So when I told them I was going down to Saudi Daisy to watch, they said, "You're going to drive to there?" I said, "Yeah," because in my mind, this was
wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but also here was my mind. If it had been 2 hours. Let me ask the question. Do I coach at White County? I do. Do I have girls on the soccer team that are on the softball team? I do. So is it important to go watch them? It is. So am I going to go? Of course. So I wasn't thinking my transmission would be a problem. So I didn't care. It could have been up Mount Everest. I was going to go.
Right.
I just didn't understand, right? And they were like, okay, well, I mean, we appreciate you doing that, but you may need to know that it's going to be a drive. Like, it's going to be a woo, right? And those mountains went up and up. And they just kept going up. My hair was turning red. It was going up so high, right? It was just like, it started off, more of a blonde color, and then it just, what is that?
That's a great question.
I don't know what that is. Is that music playing?
Looks like it.
Looks like that's what it is here. I'm not really sure what that is. Let me make sure I turn this off over here. Is that your phone?
No, it's not mine.
I don't know what that is. Anyway. Okay, turn it off over there. There we go. I don't know what that was. I'm not sure how that happened.
That's odd.
That was odd, right? That was odd. I had turned it. I don't know what. Maybe my watch caught it.
Maybe.
I don't know what happened there. I don't even have that song on my iPod.
That's
I don't even have that song on my phone. How that happened, I don't know. Maybe it was a key word you said or I said.
I couldn't tell you.
I would say it's my fault. If it's gonna be somebody, it's my fault, right? I would definitely say it's my fault. So either way, I'm not sure what happened there. But either way, sorry. Turn the volume over there. So the volume over here is still on. But it was the volume. I don't know what that. I don't even know what song that was.
I couldn't tell you.
I was hoping it was your phone.
No, it wasn't mine.
It's not your phone. Okay.
No, sir.
I don't know. Whoever was out there, if you heard it, there it was. But, well, it looks like, I don't know what happened there. Who knows? My phone, all my stuff's in Spanish. And maybe I said something that sounded like Spanish. So they'll do that sometimes. I'll be at practice, right? I'll be talking, and all of a sudden I'll say something, and it'll ask me a question in Spanish. I'm like, not right now.
Yeah,
But
I turn my Siri off.
Yeah. So, well, of course, mine's usually like, oye, Siri, is always in Spanish, but yeah, for sure. So you want to go to WK if basketball doesn't work out? Who you talked to about basketball?
I've actually talked to a few schools. I obviously don't have any offers yet, but I've talked to some coaches. I've talked to so far Sewanee, UAH, Tusculum, and Spring Hill College.
Okay. Have you looked at any now? Just doing all the options.
Oh, Trevecca. Sorry, I forgot about Trevecca.
Have you looked at any? Have you talked to any community colleges yet?
I have not.
Okay. Now, community colleges, there's Vol State, right, over in Chattanooga. No, not Chattanooga, Cookeville.
Yep.
And then there's, what's another one close to around here? Motlow, yeah. So back home, there's a lot of community colleges back home. So I went to when I was in school, I went to Dyersburg State for 2 years. I was, by the way, the basketball mascot and a cheerleader, by the way. I took Dick Turner. So I know about community college athletics. I know about it, right? And then I went to UTM, UT Martin.
Gotcha.
So that's over there in Martin. So they play against TTU. In the
What was it like being a mascot?
Oh, I loved it. So little history about me. I played football in the fall, and then I played soccer in the spring. But then I wanted to go to my junior high, 8th grade year. I wanted to go to all the basketball games. I love basketball. And so our mascot back home for junior high was the Pirates. So I'd asked the cheerleading sponsor, could I be the mascot? She's like, no. I asked her 3 times. The third time, Miss Sharon Lee looked at me and she goes, Nixon, if you can make a suit, I'll let you on the court. I said, yes, ma'am. I went home.
So you made the suit yourself?
I made the suit.
Oh,
Literally, I went home and I found some warm-up pants that were black and red.
Yeah.
I got a fluffy shirt somewhere. I put a belt around me. I got me a wee little bandana. I went to the drugstore and bought an eye patch.
Oh man.
We put the I didn't have a beard back then, obviously. That didn't come until later on. But we drew a little mustache. Oh my gosh. It was awesome. And they were like, okay. And then I ended up getting like most spirited that year on the, she's like, he's a special young man. We love him. So then I went to high school. They were started the mascot program there, which we were the pioneers there. So it's like David Crockett.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I play football. Can I do it for basketball? They said, well, sure. And there it was. When we shot free throws, I would jump. We had this little routine I did. It started about my freshman year. I would jump up in the air and then land on both feet, and I would yell, miss it. And I would hold it out until they shot the shot.
Oh,
I was so loud, they could hear me on the radio. People said, that's Nixon on the radio. Like, you could literally hear me on the radio. I mean, I was a very loud mascot. I loved it. Now, I was, I loved playing basketball. I was never any good at playing until I got into high school, started getting in the weight room, started getting a little stronger, so my dribble got better, my shot got better. But by then, I was like, man, I love being a mascot. I love with the crowd. I love engaging the crowd. Kind of like this right here, right? We're engaging the crowd. And I love doing that, and got to go to the state tournament twice. And it was just a lot of fun. So I've seen, and that's the thing I think people maybe that y'all don't understand from perspective. I used to mascot in games where the crowd was dead. Like, they wouldn't really get excited about it until we got into tournament play, right?
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to mascot in games that are just dead. White County, that crowd's, they love you guys. They are all about you guys. That would have been a cool atmosphere to mascot in. I mean, just because... sometimes I have to go around the gym, like, try to get people to stand there, like, who cares? I mean, because either our girls were killing it or our boys weren't winning. That was like the thing back then, right? That was just how it works. They just now got pretty good in boys basketball, but, they wouldn't get excited about games until about January or February. But here, man, that crowd every Friday night, they're hopping, they're loving you guys. It's just such a great atmosphere to play, to coach, I'm sure to cheer in. The band's playing, Shut Up and Dance With Me. Donnell's got them playing up there. I told Donnell, I said, when that song Shut Up and Dance With Me is playing, we can do no wrong. That literally during football season, every time they'd start playing, da 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 da, Malachi to the house, right? Or Pick Six, right? It was just amazing. Yeah, right. So but it's a fun atmosphere, and it's just a lot of fun to watch you guys play. Everybody wants to be there. After the game, I'm sure they file out and go eat somewhere, but everybody wants to be there. It's just a lot of fun to watch. Coaches, principals sitting around, old different people from the community. It's just a lot of fun to play.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, and I know. What was your first moment of getting to feel as a player?
Okay, man, I got it. So I didn't. My sophomore year, I finally got my first start my sophomore year, and that was when all the COVID stuff was going on. We didn't have the crowd, so honestly, I wouldn't even say that real crowd. I didn't even get to really play in front of a real crowd until junior year, and I'd say probably against Cookeville last season, playing at home.
Gotcha.
That was like the first time ever playing in front of like a real Sparta crowd.
Right, gotcha. Now your freshman year, obviously you're on the team, but you weren't playing much.
Yeah, no, I was just freshman team and JV team. I wasn't varsity yet.
Gotcha. So you got to see the crowds, but then y'all's season was already over when COVID hit. That year the boys' state tournament didn't get to occur.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
There was, in fact, the girls' tournament was cut short at the Final Four. So for a lot of teams, I think the private school state championship had occurred because they always play a week earlier. But besides that, it just cut everything out. So yeah, COVID was tough. I remember that's actually how this kind of started with the streaming. They asked me back home. They knew I had streamed before, and they said, "Hey, can you come up with some kind of way we can get the game out to people?" And I was like, "Well, we can try." And so we did all that. And so that's kind of how that all started. So, but it's it's of course we're kind of past that now as a state. I know things are surging in other parts of the country right now, but hopefully we won't go back into that kind of process. But hopefully not for sure. But either way, so this week we got school on Monday and Tuesday. Do y'all play? What day? What's y'all's first day to play? Monday. Okay. Now who y'all play against that day?
Bradford.
Now what time's that game?
I want to say it's in the evening.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what time.
Now will it go girl boy the tournament, or is it?
I feel like that's how it will be.
Okay.
I think so. I think when we were writing our names on the schedule for work in the tournament, I think that's what it was.
Now, so when y'all are not playing, are you working concessions?
Yes.
Okay.
Concessions in the ticket gate.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes,
Gotcha. Cool, thanks. Well, that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm sure that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, we actually I don't know that Warrior Media is covering those games. They may actually have the Maroon and Gray maybe doing their first home game this week and so covering some of y'all's games. So we'll see about all that. We got to see what that's going to look like this week, but should be fun. So well, either way, so Thomas.
Jacob
Davis. I don't know why I keep making the amazing mistake. Jacob, so thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Please come back on later on in the year when we start getting towards the postseason. We'll get all the seniors back on, and Jacob, it's been good to have you on the show.
I've had a time. I've had a good time.
Yes, sir. Sounds good, Jacob. Good to see you. All right, so that was Jake Davis on the show, and proud of him doing a great job this season. And we will see him later on in the year. Either way, I'd like to thank our sponsors before we leave. Here we have Cheek Insurance Agency, Franks, and Wallace Insurance Agency. It's fun to learn these new kids, learn their names. Sometimes I mess their names up a little bit, but it's fun to learn and meet these young people. They're doing a great job this season. Can't wait to watch them this week in the Franks basketball tournament as we finish out the semester, and we will see you out there. So hopefully come out and watch some great basketball this week. We will see you. Now this show will occur. We'll take next week off since it's Christmas weekend, and then the next weekend we'll have off as well. We'll be at New Year's weekend, and I know I'll be headed back to West Tennessee as of Thursday night. So we'll see each other here in about 3 weeks, and if you don't get to say it beforehand, y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm so thankful to be here. I will see you in 3 weeks. God bless, and go White County.